Love is one of the 7 grandfather teachings. In our language, we call it Zagidwin. What that means is that a light emulates from your heart to another person. And I feel that our energy needs to be that when we're working with other people or just even interacting with other people. And this is one of the teachings that we would like the healthcare providers to understand and recognize. This is how we see love as an Indigenous person.
Bonjour, Anishinabe Iawadi Nagaza Nidishnakaz, Deshkan Zibing Nandunjaba. My name is Julia Dyer, and my spirit name is Robin, and I am from Chippewa-the-Thames First Nation. Today I'm going to provide you with the training on the Culture-Based Integration Model and the Indigenous Patient and Family Culture-Based Care Guide. It is recommended to complete this training with a peer or coworker. Discussions between the former Erie St. Clair LHIN, now known as Ontario West and the Home and Community Care Support Services, and Indigenous health service providers in Southern Ontario confirmed the need for an Indigenous Health Planning Committee, the IHPC. This committee was established in 2009. Although the health of Indigenous populations in Canada has been improving in recent years, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples continue to experience lower health outcomes than non-Indigenous Canadians. Addressing the health disparities and poor health outcomes within Indigenous communities require health system reforms aimed at 1. Including Indigenous people as leaders and community experts in the design and development of health services at all system levels. 2. Improving Indigenous patients' access to health and prevention services. 3. Improved patient experiences premised on equitable healthcare treatment. 4. Building collaborative partnerships with community supports and service providers that promote a sound quality of life. In combining the above principles and suggested reforms, the IHPC created a formal cultural-based integration model in the fall of 2014. The model amalgamates historical agreements, traditional teachings, future projections, vision statement, current state, social determinants of health, and health system coordination into a model of care for implementation and advancement of all community partners to enhance Indigenous patients' healthcare access, experiences, and health outcomes. The committee also recognizes these efforts cannot be undertaken independently, rather non-Indigenous partners have an integral role as well.
This framework is a commitment to building meaningful relationships that are mutually beneficial between the healthcare system and Indigenous communities. It promotes holistic health from that Indigenous worldview, and ultimately that benefits everyone in the community.
All hospitals need to know that in the province of Ontario, there are protocol agreements signed with our leadership that explicitly outlines how you need to engage with our people. And when you engage with our people, it's all of our people. It's First Nation people living in the community, and it's people that are living urban, that are living in town. It includes the Métis people, and it includes the Inuit people. So we still need to be respectful of their process and bring ourselves up to knowledge as far as that goes.
Building a trusting relationship with our clientele, our families, is really important in the beginning. And I think that goes way back to our ancestors. When you greeted somebody, you greeted them wholeheartedly with everything you are, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So it's a big check-in, and that is, I think, the beginning parts of building that trusting relationship.
Today I'm going to provide you with training on the culture-based integration model. Bowl and spoon, alternately beaver tail soup agreement. The wooden bowl and spoon, center of the wheel, is reminiscent of the treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee Iroquois. This treaty was created after the French and Indian War. Newcomers were incorporated into the treaty in 1764, the Royal Proclamation Treaty of Niagara. The bowl represents what is now Southern Ontario, signifying the importance of sharing and working together. This is represented in the notion of having one dish and one spoon, representing all people have the responsibility of making sure the dish is never empty by taking care of and sharing the land and the resources within it. The vision of the IHPC committee is to improve the quality of life and the holistic health outcomes for all stages of the life cycle. The intention of the vision statement is to improve the care and the quality of life for all, inclusive of their physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. The life cycle teaching celebrates life through the passage of stages, including infancy, childhood, youth, adulthood, and senior years, inclusive of those yet to be born. This teaching explains the interrelationship and interdependency of individuals, families, and communities and their responsibilities to each other. Infants and children bring joy, love, curiosity, and sharing to their families. This is a time for bonding, learning, and nurturing during the child's formative years. Youth and young adults bring activity and enthusiasm for life in preparation for maturity. This is a time of choice among many paths in the search for meaning and understanding. Adults bring love, hope, caring, sharing, and teaching. They have the responsibility to provide for their children, themselves, and their extended families. As role models, they make clear the vision for future generations. Elders bring wisdom, love, and spiritual understanding in their roles as healers, counselors, guides, and keepers of our teachings and ceremonies. Those yet to be born, at the heart of many Indigenous teachings, is the individual and collective responsibility for planning and preparing for the next 7 generations. Within this teaching, there is an awareness that the actions and decisions of current generations has an impact on all stages of life, presently and into the future. In building healthy individuals, families, and communities, the preservation and passing on of our cultural knowledge is essential. It is in recognition of the gifts of each stage of life that we appreciate the significance of creating healthy and well-balanced families and communities. Importantly, it is also about making wise decisions and fully understanding the impact of those decisions on the current and future generations. Friendship band. This is represented by the 2 people connected by a purple line surrounding the life cycle. These symbols represent the wampum belts and treaties the Iroquois made with Great Britain and the Ojibwe. Within these agreements, the purple line signifies the parties' agreement to keep friendly discourse with each other. Similarly, the inclusion of the friendship band reflects the unity all partners have in advancing the health and well-being of Indigenous communities in the region. The social determinants of health reflect the multitude of systemic issues confronting many Indigenous patients and their communities' ability to have a good quality of life. The 14 social determinants of health include Indigenous status, disability, early life, education, employment and working conditions, food insecurity, health services, gender, housing, income and income distribution, race, social exclusion, social safety net, and unemployment and job security. As a whole, the culture-based integration model strives to take a comprehensive approach to health system strategy planning and coordination by bringing community patients, experts, and partners together. It is envisioned these groups will add experience, topic expertise, and community linkages needed to support and advance priorities identified by the IHPC. Gus Wenta, 2-row wampum. The Gus Wenta surrounding the wheel represents the agreement and conditions under which the Haudenosaunee, Iroquois, welcomed non-Indigenous people, originally made with the Dutch, to Turtle Island. The Gus Wenta is a beaded belt depicting 2 parallel rows of purple wampum beads surrounded by rows of white beads, hence reference to the 2-row wampum. The 2 rows symbolize 2 paths or 2 vessels, representing each party to the agreement, traveling down the same river together. Some say the 2 separate rows of purple beads represent the past, present, and future spirits of the Haudenosaunee and the non-Haudenosaunee people. Between the 2 rows of purple beads are 3 rows of white beads. This background of white beads is meant to symbolize the purity of the agreement, and some say that it represents the river of life. Additionally, the 3 rows of white signify friendship, peace, and respect between the 2 nations. As much as the 3 rows keep the 2 nations separate, it also binds them together. The IHPC established a regional Indigenous health strategic plan as a directional tool to be shared with health service providers for their adoption and joint advancement in aiming to improve Indigenous patient health outcomes. Drawing from the input from survey questionnaires, focus groups, and previous engagement with community partners specific to cultural sensitivity, mental health, and addictions, 5 focus areas for advancement emerged. These focus areas include 1. Health equity, 2. Chronic disease and prevention management, 3. Access to care, 4. Mental health and addiction services, 5. Data and reporting. Collectively, these themes became the foundations of the Strategic Directions Plan.
When we have better encounters, we start to be able to create a system where people are comfortable and they can get the care that they need when they need it. This is about us working together in commonality, recognizing the distinction between us, but knowing that those aren't enough. Those aren't the principles that need to keep us separate. That we need to really collectively come together to shape the way we see and need to interact and modify our systems for the next 7 generations.
This guide is your practical tool to help you as a service provider to respond effectively to Indigenous patients' needs, wants, and goals for their health and wellness. As a starting point for building a positive and collaborative relationship, it provides an overview of the steps to co-creating a care plan with Indigenous patients and their families. This approach to care planning empowers the patient and family to be actively involved in their care planning. It also provides the opportunity for the patient and their family to gain a deeper understanding of their healthcare needs and how to best self-manage their health condition in partnership with you as the provider. Please note that applying this approach to care planning necessitates building the care plan alongside the patient and their family, focusing on the areas that identify as important to their health and well-being. It will be most useful or beneficial when it is revisited by the provider and the patient regularly to refresh or update. The use of this care plan tool can be easily applied in all healthcare settings, as it provides a comprehensive approach for addressing the holistic needs of Indigenous patients and families, including physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. A culture-based approach to care and treatment can be an ideal option for patients who wish to use it in setting healthcare goals for the management of their health and well-being. It is recommended that you always consult the patient and family to determine which approach to use. This tool is intended to be used in conjunction with your organizational database or your EMR. Positive relationships and trust are important components to successful healthcare planning for Indigenous patients and families. Specific steps are provided in more detail on the following pages. Building and maintaining trust is critical to establishing a rapport with the patient and family and requires healthcare providers to demonstrate specific cultural attributes such as the 7 grandfather teachings: respect, honesty, truth, humility, bravery, love, and wisdom. Together, these qualities support the creation and maintenance of deeper and more meaningful connections with the patient and the family that lead to improved health and well-being.
My name's Wobsy and I'm a paramedic. I've been a medic for about 3 years now. When I give care, I like to take a step back, look at the whole picture and realize that there are more needs than just physical and what is happening at the moment.
I think that this care model is really important, especially in my role, because it helps us to go back to the holistic healthcare approach, and it keeps the patient centered. As an Indigenous person, there's a lot of historical trauma and things that have happened that mainstream society, I feel like, isn't very well aware of. And so coming from an Indigenous community and being Indigenous, I feel like I can connect with people in that way and to help them navigate through the healthcare system in a way that respects where they're coming from.
The first wheel surrounding the center is the starting point to care planning, recognizing the holistic needs of the patient and family. The second and third wheels set out the care provider attributes needed to build a positive relationship in support of building an effective care plan. The fourth circle is an amalgamation or final product of the efforts put into the inner circles: vision, knowledge, reason, and action is a reflection of how well the care provider attributes were applied. Note that the sections of the care plan guide are interconnected and overlapping. As you move through the planning stages, all care provider attributes may support you in your relationship with the patient and family. Taking a holistic approach will also mean that each aspect of well-being should be considered in each planning stage. Vision. Take the time to build a trusting relationship with the patient and their family. Consider the physical aspects of wellness. Are the basic needs of the patient and the family being met? Respect. Use a respectful approach to increase trust and create a safe environment for the patient and family to discuss their healthcare conditions, needs, and concerns openly. Love. Provide services from a place of love to lessen division or perception of power, differential between the patient, their family, and the care provider. Kindness. Recognizing the needs of others and acting from a place of compassion. This stage is critical for building rapport and becoming familiar with the patient and family, including their medical condition, diagnosis, medications, social determinants of health, and their impact on the patient's physical needs, limitations, and abilities. It requires the most amount of time to establish a healthy relationship that will be central to all interactions. It also requires analytical thinking beyond the immediate situation and consideration of future needs and implications. Knowledge. Understanding the interconnection between emotional and physical health and well-being. Consider the emotional aspect of wellness. Respectively check in with the patient and family about their emotional state and social connections, and help seek out appropriate supports. Honesty. Be descriptive and contextualize information in non-clinical terms for the patient and their family. Balance directness and kindness so the information exchange is well received and easy to understand. Truth. Be direct about the healthcare situation as you work alongside the patient and their family to jointly develop care management options and strategies. Authenticity. Knowing and valuing our true self and expressing it free of hesitation. In this stage, you will support the patient and family in a deeper understanding of their healthcare diagnosis, prognosis, and options, including emotional supports required. When the patient is feeling safe and secure to do so, early discussion of goals can begin, with the patient taking the lead in establishing what they would like to achieve or accomplish in their care planning. Reason. Co-create the individualized care and self-management plans. Consider the mental aspect of wellness. Respectfully check in with the patient and family about their mental state, including stress, anxiety, and daily life pressures, and help seek out appropriate supports. Humility. Provide the space for the patient and family to be leaders in their own healthcare planning. Bravery. Consider alternative approaches to healthcare planning, treatment options, and allied services to support holistic health and wellness. Sharing. Giving freely of our time and efforts to others without expectations or anticipation of something in exchange. This stage pulls together the knowledge and understanding of the holistic needs of the patient and family into two plans: the individualized care plan that will be actioned by the provider and allied service providers, and the self-management plan to be maintained by the patient and family. Acknowledging the interconnection and impact of the physical, emotional, and mental aspects of health and well-being, you will determine if the approaches outlined for achieving the goals are reasonable and attainable. Action. Implement the plan to achieve the patient's goals, review, and evaluate. Consider the spiritual aspect of wellness. What are the spiritual and/or cultural needs and wishes of the patient and their family? Take the time to consider this aspect of wellness and respectively ask the patient and family about their chosen supports. Wisdom. Empower the patient and their family with knowledge and support so they can make the best decisions for self-management and treatment options. Strength. Creating enduring and resilient relationships. In this stage, the plan is shared with the appropriate allied health service providers, and the patient and family are taking steps to action it. As the service provider, you will monitor the progress of the plan, consistently working alongside the patient and their family to reevaluate the plan and adjust it as needed. It is also important for you to recognize and help to identify the patient's sources of resiliency. For the patient, this stage is about building self-esteem and confidence to manage their health condition. Please take out your Indigenous Patient and Family Culture-Based Care Guide. It is recommended to complete this training with a peer or coworker. Start by watching this video, then take turns practicing the care plan guide by asking each other the questions and providing each other feedback. For example, go through one page at a time with your partner. After each page is completed, have your partner provide you with feedback on how they felt. This will allow you to modify your approach as needed so that the patient feels comfortable and you gather the most accurate information. This guide is meant to be used as a tool that can direct you in your interview questions during your assessment. It is a 16-page tool. The first page of the tool goes through the patient's demographics, address, phone number, general information. The second page of the care guide goes through their health conditions, diagnosis, and provides a brief health history. The third page of the guide lists their medications, allergies, and any type of addictions. The fourth page of the guide is very important. In Indigenous health and our history, we believe that everything can be broken down into 4 things: spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental. There is space on this page for you to take notes while the patient is talking. The 5th page of the guide reflects on vision, physical. Page 6, knowledge, emotional. Page 7, reason and mental. Page 8, action and spiritual. Page 9 focuses on self-management plan and goal setting for patients and families. This would be a time when families may want to collaborate in goal setting or have notes that they would like to add as well. Pages 10 through 13 provide a list of questions to further discuss the goals of the patients and their families. Please refer to the resource booklet as it will provide you with some clarity as to the objectives of these questions. Page 14 starts with a place to list the patient's care team. This can include things like family and caregivers, and various health providers that provide them care. Below that is the health care consent and advanced care planning. Ensure that you've obtained all necessary consents to treatment from the patient or the substitute decision maker as required by law. This is an opportunity for patients to share their wishes, values, and beliefs with or without their future substitute decision makers as they relate to their future health care. Page 15 is a medication reconciliation list. You may have to confirm this with the client or their pharmacist. 16 is the last page of the guide, and it focuses on palliative approach to care. The reason that this page is so important is because if palliative care was ever needed, we would like to be aware and have the knowledge of the client's wishes, values, and beliefs.
So my hope for this guide is that healthcare professionals receive an in-depth training, an understanding of the teachings that are in it, an understanding on how to utilize it in their practice comfortably so that it's a part of their practice. It's a part of how they offer things.
The healthcare system is changing. There's a First Nation health policy that's coming that's going to set out that work for the Ontario health teams, and it shows what is our treaty obligation, like what is our duty to consult. So I'm really looking forward to the future of this work.
I see it being used everywhere. I don't see any one part of our healthcare system that wouldn't benefit from understanding how to build a good care plan that responds to the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual needs of our people. And so for me, the way I see the care plan is that it's just a growth and evolution of supports that change as the patient heals or modifies the condition itself. And so when we pull all this together, it's very much with that notion of continuing to support each other. It is supporting these changes in the long-term healthcare plans and the outcomes of our people in ways that does honor and value those original agreements of peace, friendship, and respect.